I bought the new Pokemon game.
Did you really?
Yes.
Why?
I was bored, and
Which one did you get?
I got Violet.
Is it like Arceus?
It's open world.
That's cool.
So you can definitely tell that it's Game Freak, right?
Game Freak.
Yeah. I don't know if they're still doing that, if they're still the ones now that I think about it. But anywho, you can tell from starting in Sword and Shield, experimenting with some type of like beginning of open where like you can see the Pokemon on the field thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you couldn't.
Well, because no, but then they did that DLC.
Yeah.
Because in the original one, there was just that one area.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, the wild area. Yeah. But and then into Pokemon Arceus, like Legends Arceus, and then the open world aspect that they had with that. This is 100% open world, more or less. Like there's only. I mean, I've only gotten like 2 badges. There's 18 badges in total to collect in this game, so they're actually making it bigger. But you can tell they're culminating a lot of things. But what's like, it kind of has a weird like some of the lagging on like the mapping and whatnot is weird. It's like trying to get into the Pokedex is kind of frustrating. Like some of the like just like the navigation of menu navigation is kind of
like the UI.
Yeah, it's like but there's this really cool new option where so instead of like targeting the Pokemon like in Arceus, I really wish they would have kept so much more of the catching Pokemon aspect from Arceus into this one. But you have to battle a Pokemon to catch them. You can't just throw a Pokeball out to catch them. Which I was like, okay.
Which you could do in Arceus.
Yeah. Because remember I was like targeting the like they're in the wild and I'm like throwing a Pokeball to catch it. There's not like that. But you can release your Pokemon to walk around on the field, and he'll just automatically battle Pokemon on the field while you run around and collecting stuff. So like if it's strong enough, it'll just wipe out like herds of Pokemon.
It's a menace to society.
Yeah. But then if you want to like actually like go in and battle the Pokemon, you can just like you hit a ZR instead of a right button. And then it'll actually take you in, and that's how you actually catch them. Then you have to lower their HP to a certain point. So I'm assuming
this Pokemon can just run around and get experience by massacring.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you get like a fraction of the experience that you would if you actually go in and battle them.
Okay.
Because you're not using any moves. It's not using up any of that, and if they're just wiping, like, unless you get to like if my fire type that I did the fire type starter. If like it's lower level or like mid, like same level as like a water type that's going up against, it'll just drain its HP like that, and then it runs back to you. It's like, oh no,
I messed up.
So, yeah, I got it. It's also just like it's a Pokemon game. I really do like the. We'll talk about it more off and whatnot. I just wanted like I've been saving this for the loop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I do realize that now that it's a dual one again, I'm gonna have to trade Pokemon for certain evolutions, and I'm like, fuck. I think I might actually just get the badges, get my team, and just like call it good. Like I'm not gonna try to catch them all.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play another Pokemon game for a very long time.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
because I did Sword and Shield because that was years. Because I want more now, especially now that they're teetering with this whole open world thing. I'd want them to kind of iron it out a little more.
I mean, I'll bring next time I have my Switch around. I'll let you like roam around and like look at
let me know.
it. Yeah.
Like Arceus, let me know.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. That was like a 4-minute intro about Pokemon. Let's get the fuck into this.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob. My camera's there now.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Christmas.
Out of any Christmas song you could have done.
That's been stuck in my head, and I've been trying to figure out where it came from. And that's Jerry in Rick and Morty in their first Christmas episode. He's like just walking Christmas. And it's like, what Christmas song is? I don't even know what Christmas song that's supposed to be.
It's Jerry's.
No, but like that's a rhythm to an actual Christmas song, and I don't know what it is.
Oh, Do that.
Yeah. You're right.
I don't know.
It's such a fucking Jerry thing, though. But anyway, hey guys, how y'all doing?
What is that song? Hi, everyone. It's gonna bug me now.
We are starting our holiday season block.
Yeah, with a Christmas story. I'm gonna be okay. Gotta get it. Gotta get over it. Yeah. So
Get over it. Okay. Well, jeez.
No, the song. I'm trying to figure out what the song is. Yeah. So we're starting our holiday block. We picked. We're doing. I don't know. How do we word this? Because last time we did the unconventional.
This is just more like all holiday because we're gonna go into also some Hanukkah movies too.
Yes.
So we'll just stick with like this kind of like our holiday season and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are kicking it off with A Christmas Story. Classic Christmas movie.
It's a pretty Christmas Christmas movie.
Yeah, but it's a funny ass Christmas movie.
But then it's like not at the same time.
I think it's hilarious.
No. I mean, it's like a Christmas movie, but then it's like not a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it kind of more like, even though it is almost 40 years old, it's more of a modern. It's like what modern?
It's a 40-year-old
modern Christmas story
that takes place in the 1940s.
Yeah, exactly. So I do really quick want to ask you, because you've said that this movie kind of has always depressed you. Mm-hmm. Does it did do the same? Did you?
I don't really care for it.
Well, you can. I don't care if you don't care for it, but
it's kind of depressing.
How is it? How like I was literally watching it. I'm like, how is this? This is.
I don't know. Bums me out.
This is just. It's so innocent.
Oh.
Who hurt you?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a wiring thing. Like I watched it as a kid when something not great was going on, and it just has like this subconscious. Yeah, the movie bums me out.
Would that be a Freudian thing? It's not your. Well, I mean, if it has to do with your parents, then yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, anywho, so yeah, Christmas Story. It was released November 18th, 1980. Oh, do your synopsis really quick.
So yeah, A Christmas Story. We follow a young boy in the 1940s as he tries to convince his parents to buy him an air rifle for Christmas.
Yeah, BB gun.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between a BB gun and an air rifle?
It's a bolt action, so it's not using, like, you don't pump it.
So his isn't an air rifle, is it? It's a BB gun. It's a Red Ryder.
I thought he was calling it. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Anywho,
shot my uncle in the leg with a pellet gun once.
That's fucking hilarious.
Oh, it ricocheted. It was just like the movie. It ding 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 right into his shin.
I shot my eye out.
Pissed.
I bet. So this was released 1983, November 18th. So yeah, it's almost 40 years old. IMDb rating, it's got a 7.9. Tomato meter rating, it's 90% with reviews, and then 88 audience score. So whatever you're feeling is all on you, bud. Mm-hmm. And yeah,
I read the reviews, and
and yeah, it was number 39, like box office wise. Like, you know, I mean, it did well for where it was at. How many movies for 1983? Because we hadn't done any 1983s.
11.
I had 13.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know.
This like Return of the Jedi came out this year, and some like notable like big movies.
Well, it's also that,
and a lot of re-releases. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. But it was also like a lot of movies like Porky's. Never seen it.
Oh, I've seen Porky's.
But it's just like there's a lot of, because I've never really had a desire to.
Yeah.
It's not really my kind of humor.
Yeah, and that was like the people that I grew up with, that was kind of more of their humor anyway. So
I'm assuming Porky's is a lot like Animal House kind of humor.
Even raunchier.
Raunchier than Animal House?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, cool. Porky's. Yeah, Porky. They saw what Animal House did. I think Animal House was like late 79, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Just Porky's. Is like,
Porky's.
No, it was like Porky's has a famous peephole scene where like the boys like drilled the hole to peep on the girls showering thing.
I know that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming kind of problematic.
Very problematic nowadays. Very, very problematic. It's definitely a movie that if... Whoa. Anywho, we're not talking about Porky's. We're talking about a Christmas Story. A lovely Christmas movie. I guess really... let's just get into writer, director, and all that stuff, and then we can kind of get into our discussion of like what is a Christmas movie and a lot about and all that stuff and whatnot.
So this was kind of an interesting little history read.
Yeah.
So initially it is written, the creator of the Parker family, which is the family we follow, is a man named Gene Shepard, who passed away in 1999, was a storyteller, humorist, radio and TV personality.
Yeah, I was going to say he's like most famously known as a radio TV personality. I also put prankster.
Why?
Because he started like some of the shit that he would do, like he loved to do this like weird like blend of like this fact between fiction, like you like this is like almost like it's like a semi autobiographical of his childhood, but you can never really tell if like what he's exaggerating, what is real, what is fiction. He made up a book called I Libertine and was talking about it on his radio show about how it was a New York best time seller. This book didn't exist.
Okay.
This is like in the 1950s. People then started asking, like calling up their bookstores, like, "Hey, I want to get a hand on I Libertine, this New York bestseller, New York Times bestseller," and bookstores are like, "I've never heard of this book," like, and they were trying to find it, and until finally, then people were calling New York Times, like, "Where did this book come from?" And New York Times is like, "What book are you talking about?" And so he created this like strange like. He created a New York Times bestseller without it even being existed, and then wrote the book, and it was a New York Times bestseller.
So you basically got the hype behind it before it was even. That's funny.
It's like when Orson Welles did the like War of the Worlds, and everybody thought that was real. It's like no, like he took liberty of people's like gullibility at the time, and just like knowing like how impressionable his position is.
Well, it's also interesting. I was really curious. I meant to, but I totally dropped the ball on it. But I remember, I don't know how true this is anymore, but I remember this being my dad's favorite Christmas movie.
This is my mom's favorite.
Oh, is it? Mm-hmm. And I never knew that it was based off this guy that actually wrote.
Yeah, no, I learned about this today as well.
And my dad was a kid at this time, and I'm wondering, did he listen to these stories when he was a kid on the radio?
Possibly. I wonder, I don't know how much, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised with what Gene Shepard did, like, because these are based out of stories from his book, In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was probably like some of these like memoirs and stories that were like, he probably like told stories over the radio and whatnot. But
well, I'm like curious because my dad was not like the biggest Christmas fan.
Yeah.
But he really liked this movie.
What's interesting is like, because this isn't necessarily like, this isn't like a Christmas movie where like, oh, Santa Claus is going to save the day or anything like that. I think we're doing the Santa Claus later, aren't we? I can't remember. Excuse me. We gotta time it.
I forgot.
We're about 14 minutes in. 13. Anyway, this is more of like a recollection of like memories and whatnot, but we'll get into that. Like we're jumping ahead. So yeah, this was like Gene Shepard's like brainchild. He wrote the book, or it's a collection of stories. There's also like a summer story that I just recently found out,
which is the actual sequel.
Yeah, not a Christmas Story 2, which apparently is a thing as well.
Yes.
But
Ralphie's now a teenager.
Yeah, with Kieran Culkin playing.
Yeah,
I was like, what? Like, I actually kind of want to watch it because I really like Gene Shepard's like storytelling. You know.
And then you have now another official sequel,
A Christmas Story Christmas,
A
Christmas Story Christmas, which I watched as well last night afterwards.
And Ralphie's like an adult, and he's the dad now, right?
Kind of. I mean, yes, but. It almost becomes even more autobiographical in a sense where like Ralphie is essentially Gene Shepard.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of.
But yeah. But let's go into like actually directing because I mean Bob Clark has did a lot of stuff, but like this was directed by Bob Clark. He's also one of the writers with it, so like he wrote this screenplay with Gene Shepard. I think that they collaborated with it, and also there's really quick just writer Leigh Brown, who I can't find anything on her. I want to say, but
was a writer on My Summer Story sequel.
Yeah,
I mean the sequel.
Yeah, which also Bob Clark did that as well. No, never mind. But Bob Clark, it's funny that we were talking about Porky's. He directed Porky's. He directed Black Christmas, which is kind of like one of like the OG
we talked
slashers.
about that. We talked about doing that one.
And he directed and wrote Baby Geniuses. Like, I don't know, just like this guy seems to have a very interesting career.
The one I really want to watch is Rhinestone.
I didn't look that one up.
It's Dolly Parton and Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone.
Dolly Parton needs to take this obnoxious cab driver and turn him into a pop star.
Oh, I've heard about this movie.
Like, this sounds awesome.
I go rhinestone cowboys.
I really want to watch it. I just love the idea of Dolly Parton and Sylvester Stallone in a movie together.
Yeah, isn't
that the weirdest? Like,
Sylvester Stallone, like he did a handful of comedies though after his.
I know, but it's Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
that makes
I know.
me laugh. It's that combo. It's like, anyways.
Someone's like, it would be a great duo in a film.
Like, where did it start? Did it start with Stallone or did it start with Parton?
Yeah, right. But yeah, so and really quick, just starring our young little Ralphie is played by Peter Billingsley, who I feel like is more of a producer nowadays. And what it looks like, he does have a quick cameo in Elf. And my mind was blown when I figured out that he's in the MCU.
Who's in the MCU?
I forget his name. I didn't just write his name down, but he's in Iron Man and he's in Spider-Man Far From Home. He is the bald glasses scientist.
Oh, Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps. That one? The one that gets yelled at by...
Yes. John Hurt or General Ross. Not General Ross.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, yeah.
Obadiah.
Yeah, Obadiah. Yeah. No, he's that scientist that gets fired by Obadiah. And like he's the one that has the Mysterio hard drive right now.
Oh, that is him, huh?
I was like, when I had to look up a picture of him in the movie, and when I finally saw it, I was like, holy shit, he just looks so different bald. I was like, wow.
When it's like,
whoa.
It's like, I always find he blends in until you know it's him because he has those really blue eyes.
Yeah.
So once you know it's him, you're like, oh yeah, shit, that's Ralphie.
Yeah, and
of course, yeah, obviously it's Ralphie.
Yeah.
But.
Well, yeah, I thought that was really cool. I didn't know that. He's also like, he's been a producer on the MCU. Like any movie that he's kind of been in, he's helped produce as well.
Oh, okay.
He's like gotten producer credits for. And then the parents, old classic actors. Melinda Dillon plays the mother, Mrs. Parker. Does she have her first name actually?
No, she's
just Mrs. Parker.
Mother Parker and then Old Man Parker.
Which I personally recognize her immediately from the movie Harry and the Hendersons.
I never saw that one.
I love that. I think you would like that because John Lithgow.
Oh, okay.
And then Close Encounters from the Third Kind is another big movie that she was in. Both her and Darren McGavin, we'll get into that, were in the 1990 Captain America movie.
I didn't know there was a cat.
I have it somewhere on VHS in my mom's place.
Oh, really?
Say. And the old 1989 Punisher starring Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah. I have those hidden away somewhere. VHS. Anywho, Melinda Dillon, she's motherly.
I mean, it's like, and I kind of have a vague memory of her in Tu Wong Fu.
I only really remember Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John in that movie. I'm not going to try to say his last name right now.
I mean, they're memorable in that movie.
Yeah.
And then Darren McGavin, like I said, the Captain America. Billy Madison, he's the dad.
Yep. Which is really funny. Is like, the other day, Billy Madison was just playing in the background of my apartment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was just like on IFC or something. I was like, oh, Billy Madison. I haven't watched that in a minute.
And they're like such old, like in a sense, older actors that a lot of their stuff was just beyond.
Well, I mean,
what
I reckon
was
like
exposed to.
Like some of my favorite X-Files episodes. He's in 2 of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he plays Arthur Dales, who is a retired FBI agent that worked with Mulder's father.
Okay.
So when Mulder's like trying to figures out something about this new X-File or this old X-File that his father worked on, and he goes to talk to Arthur Dales, and Arthur Dales just like kind of kook. Then tells him then you get like this flashback story of Arthur Dales and his dad and whatnot. Yeah, they're fun. And then I feel like a lot of people might, like our parents might recognize him also from some episodes of the Magical World of Disney. He did a couple of episodes for. They did like the family hour thing on like Friday nights.
Oh yeah.
It was like in the 70s and 80s. But yeah, I mean that's really kind of the main actors. There is I will do a quick shout out to Zach Ward, who plays the bully.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah, because he actually ended up having like out of like everyone that was like out of the kids, actually has like a kind of more of a career. Like he has a small role in Freddy vs. Jason. He was the brother on Christopher Titus's show Titus.
Oh, that's why he's familiar. He's the brother that.
He's the idiot brother.
No, I was thinking of Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh yeah, he's the brother that yeah. And also there was he sued the.
I saw that.
He sued the production company for likeness of his face because he never like signed a contract where they could use his likeness for like any promotional stuff and whatnot. And it's been years later. One of them got scrapped and the other one they just settled. He was like, no, you guys are using my fucking face still. And like fucking give me money.
And apparently, and he's in the Christmas Story Christmas.
Yes. Yeah. It's actually that's a really fun little bit in it. I don't know how much you'll like the movie.
Because I don't like this one, or just in general?
Because it just feels like kind of how all these fucking like continuation sequels. It's like, oh, we're gonna use the same bit from this original just because people. It just feels
Like remember when we made that joke in the first one? Here it is again. That thing.
Exactly.
No. Well, did you watch this is kind of just real quick. Did you watch 8-Bit Christmas?
I don't know what that is.
It's the Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh,
about the Super Nintendo. Or...
Oh, I forgot about that. That came out last year.
Yeah,
I meant to watch. That just kind of fell off my radar. Yeah,
watch it this year. It's cute.
Yeah,
it's this.
Yeah, because it's his story about like wanting a Nintendo as a kid.
What was it? It wasn't Super Nintendo, was it? No,
regular
Nintendo.
It's
a regular Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I remember what it was. It's very this.
Fair.
It was cute.
Yeah.
Really cute.
All right. Well, let's. Why don't you get into some of your reviews, and we'll carry on. Carry on my wayward son. I don't know where that came from.
Because you said carry on. I don't know. All right. So there are for reviews. There are from the critics. There are 12 positive and 4 mixed.
Mm-hmm. That's right. There's no fucking negatives.
So 100 out of 100. Jay Carr at the Boston Globe. In short, A Christmas Story isn't just about Christmas. It's about the childhood, and it recaptures a time and place with love and wonder. It seems an instant classic, a film that will give pleasure to people not only this Christmas, but for many Christmases to come. And this was written the day after it came out, basically.
Word. Okay.
And I like that because it's like that's what I was kind of saying. It's like it's a Christmas story. It's not just about Christmas. It's about childhood.
Yeah.
Because even with his like recollections and his daydreaming and stuff like that, it's very kind of whimsical and in that way. Mm-hmm. Then who else did I have? Oh, Catherine Gee with a 60 out of 100 at Telegraph. Director Bob Clark, fresh if that's the word. From the juvenile hijinks of Porky's and Porky's 2s.
Actually, that's funny to think about.
Oversees a rather more family-friendly outing with this charmingly nostalgic 40-set comedy in which 9-year-old Ralphie is very specific in a believably 9-year-old way about what he wants for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of,
Yeah, I mean, those are very accurate depictions of what this movie is.
Yeah, and it is funny, like, coming off of Porky's and Porky's 2. They're like, hey, who should get old Bob?
I don't think it was who we should get. I think this was a Gene Shepard and Bob Clark collaboration.
Well, yeah, it's just funny. I'm just saying, just looking at Porky's and Porky's 2 and then being, hey, you want to do a Christmas movie? Makes me laugh.
Yeah, so, I mean, what's interesting is, like, so what makes a Christmas movie is kind of a thing that we kind of talk about each year, I feel like. And, it's like something that, Yuletide joy happens on or around Christmas. It's about family. I forget what the fourth one. I mean, those three kind of like are kind of like, I feel like the main factors for like a Christmas movie, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess like there's some people like what is the Christmas miracle that happens in the movie? Which this one I guess would be actually Ralphie getting, you know, you don't think he's going to get it. He's sad. And then you find out that his dad secretly had actually gotten it for him. And which is also kind of a sweet moment. Like,
well, yeah. Well, it's also kind of funny too. Cause it's like, until that moment, you never, I feel like as an audience go, yeah, why didn't he ever ask his dad? He was only focused on asking mom.
Well, and that's an interesting thing, and I think that's that's like how did I phrase it? It's like this depiction of this time era, and you see it with how his old man is around the house, and it's like at this time in like the 30s. It's not like the fathers, they didn't raise the children. That was up for the mother, you know. The dad was more of just the authoritarian of the house, you know, like, like when he gets in that fight, he's like, my old man's gonna kill me. But so, or like one thing that I kind of never noticed, there's still like a love and a charm to like to the father. But when Ralphie comes out to help with the bolts or to change the tire, and he just like Ralphie turns the corner and his old man's just like, what are you doing out here? It's like, and also like, how dare you be out here type thing. And it's like, oh no, mom said I should help. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's like this quick, it's like this, I didn't tell you to be out here. Why are you out here? Like, oh no, mom said I should help. And he's like, okay. You know, it's just this weird dynamic of what a dad was at this point in time.
Yeah. There's like a disconnect.
Yeah.
You know, there's like this weird bridge between the two.
And also, but you also see this like idolization through the narration through Ralphie's like view of his father.
The way he talks about him.
Yeah.
Like,
which
my dad could change a fuse faster than Jackrabbit.
And I never fully captured that in
I
the
didn't
past.
catch it until this time.
Yeah. There was actually kind of like what was really nice watching it this time with, because I do like watch this every year, but it's like on TBS in the background, just repeating. I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember this vignette. I remember this bit. But I'm not really like focusing on it. His old man is a goof. He's a goofy dude, and like kind of like lost in his own world and aloof, and like really kind of like a joy of a human being. Like, I don't know. It's like, I always kind of felt like he was like, there was like a terror behind him. Like, no.
Well, I mean, he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
like,
especially to his wife.
Yeah. Like he's a total asshole to his wife. Like,
it's like what he's like always gaslighting her, and like what he says is law type thing.
And that's the 40s, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like when they're changing the light bulb, she's like, no, it's the blue light bulb that's out.
I'm not colorblind. I'm not colorblind either.
Yeah.
You dick. Oh shit! I was gonna ask. So since you have watched this multiple times, that whole scene at Macy's or whatever with Santa Claus, I don't recall the waiting in line bit. Oh, what did you watch this on?
I watched it on HBO.
I did too. Yeah. I do not.
Okay,
so the weird little kid. I like Santa.
Oh no, that's always been in there.
I no recollection of that.
No, that's one of the funniest parts about it.
I like Wizard of Oz. Like none of that.
And then the weird linger.
Yeah, that was completely new to me. I always.
It's so comfortable.
Well, because I remember the whole Santa Claus scene.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite bits is when he goes, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid," and kicks. Like,
"You'll shoot your eye out, kid."
Taps him on the head with taps him on the head with his boot, and like I remember like all that, but I do not remember them waiting in line like at all.
I mean, so for it to fit on like. If it's been like TBS, so you've watched it lately, they do like they trim out bits.
That's that whole thing. This has been altered from original to fit a lot of time slot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, especially like they're going to play it on repeat for 24 hours straight.
Yeah,
and it starts Christmas Eve night at like 6 p.m. or something. I want to say, and then goes all the way till Christmas Day 6 p.m. So it's like straight 24 hours, and they play it 12 times.
Yeah.
So they have to make sure it fits 12 times in there. So there's little bits that have like little time crunches.
Yeah. So maybe I just
I kind of forgot that there was him like holding the BB gun at the end, because I feel like on TBS that is like quickly just like rushed over. as like the credits start to roll, like the second next showing starting and whatnot, because them at the Chinese restaurant was kind of like where I've recognized that.
That's the ending.
The ending.
Yeah, that's how I remember it. So maybe I've only really ever watched it on cable.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I own the DVD for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. I probably bought it for Christmas.
When I didn't have cable, I torrented it and would put it on repeat for Christmas for me, because I really do enjoy this movie for like Christmas. I'm not a huge Christmas guy, but like this movie does bring some like joy to me around Christmas.
It's so funny.
And I think it's because it's just like, it's goofy.
It's very goofy. I mean, I know you call it that, but something I like about it is kind of the lack thereof Christmas miracle. There is no magical moment. No,
and that's actually kind of like the wonderful thing is like there's a grounded. It's grounded in a reality through a kid's like telling of a story, but it's not. You see, that's actually an interesting thing.
Well, it's a man
recollecting
about what he felt as a child,
and that's where it's like I started to really think about like this kind of fits into an unreliable narrator
100%
thing. Like it's not 100%, I would say. Like
no, but even no, like I think it's 100%, because even with like the fuse blowing thing, my dad could change a fuse faster than a jackrabbit, and it's like, no, that's him. That's how he remembers.
That's how he remembers it. But it's like that's how it becomes like an unreliable narrator. But there's no sense of like distrust where you're like, oh, why are they like? There's no mislead it through the narration. It's just
he's not lying.
Yeah, it's what he truly felt and believed.
Yeah, well, it's like the whole swearing, like how they swear in this. Yeah, you know, he turns into Joe Pesci from Home Alone.
Home Alone, yeah.
You know.
Fudge.
But I didn't say fudge. He's got a great voice.
Gene Shepard? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was really. He narrates it.
Gene Shepard's the narrator.
Which makes perfect fucking sense since he was a radio personality. He has a radio voice. Yeah. So it was like it was really cool to kind of learn the history of this movie for this review.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting.
What?
I was just thinking, like, this is very, very, very. This is very like cousins with Sandlot.
Yeah, I mean,
because the same thing. Older, now adult, reminiscing about this summer.
There was no narrator in Sandlot, really, was there?
I thought there was. Was there no?
Only
narrator?
At the beginning, at the end, I think.
Not through it.
Yeah, I don't think through it.
God, I can't remember.
I don't think there is through it. No.
But you see what I'm saying, though,
with
the recollection thing. I just had that realization. Like, oh, they have like a similar, and like the time frame, the time era, the period it's in.
Well, what's really nice about, especially like I would say family children movies, and when you have that can help them kind of extend outside of that block of just being like a children's movie or whatnot, like Sandlot, is how you can. It's that memory. It's a reflection, you know, and it's stuck in a specific time period in a way a specific person remembers it, which makes it kind of timeless.
Oh, and then even with like, I'm just like now kind of re-looking at the movie again too, because even Randy, I want to punt Randy across the fucking room, but. If you think about it from this angle and from this lens, that is how Ralphie remembers Randy as this whiny little bitch that is constantly.
It's like he annoys that, but I'm laughing at the frustration of just like, God, this kid is. I just want to suck him, just smother him, just want to put the pillow on him.
And it's kind of fun to think about like that being the angle, because even then, you know, there's that whole gag where the mom is putting so many jackets on him he can't move his arms. Yeah. But again, if you're thinking this is Ralphie's recollection, it's like maybe that's how he thought, like he saw his mom like doing that. It's not really what was happening, but
it's kind of that's where it's how Gene Shepard's work and this
it's the whimsy.
Yeah, but the whimsy, but it's that blend between fact and fiction. And because there's even like you get moments of just the mom and the dad, but it could just be his memory of like, oh, this is what I think my parents would be doing. Yeah. But it feels so genuine where it feels like fact, but just like even just like the just how the parents are. Like there's a grounded level of it where it's like a kid isn't necessarily like, this is just like filling in what the kid wouldn't be thinking about. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like that's where like this movie like feels so like I think it's so well crafted. Like in how Bob Clark directed it and created this world with Gene Shepard's stories. Like my brain just, I'm going that it thing again, like from Planes, Trains last week. I listened to that and I was like, Jesus Christ, Jake. I started just laughing at myself. But yeah, like how, I like how you're saying like Ralphie's like way that he perceived this and whatnot. Because it's very much, it's his narration and his story. Even just like how he is with his friends, like the triple dog dare, you know, or with the teacher. But it's like, it also then goes in like, we have like this grounded reality of how he's recollecting things, but then we get moments of his overactive imagination.
Like when he's daydreaming or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this weird, like blends fact, fiction, and then gets fiction into the fact of the fiction. Stranger Than Fiction.
Well, and it's like, and well, it's like, it was kind of I think for like a Christmas holiday movie too, even though this movie is as old as it is, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air because there is no real lesson being learned. There's nothing really being shoved down your throat. It's really just about a kid that wants a toy.
Yeah.
A very specific toy, and trying to figure out how, you know, because the whole problem is you'll shoot your eye out. Mm-hmm. They're worried he's going to hurt himself with it. Yeah,
this entire movie is the kid's, his journey and on how he can get his Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah. And I think that for a lot of people too, the attraction to that is, as a kid, everyone had that one thing that was going to make or break your Christmas that you really wanted.
And this is the greatest Christmas that he ever had as well.
Yeah, because he got that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's kind of, I mean, it's like super like consumeristic part of the Christmas.
That's a reflection of what Christmas has become as well.
Yeah. But it's like, but it's also nice not to, you know, and what's like,
but it's also a kid's perspective. And that's how a kid's perspective is the consumeristic part of it.
They want the toy. They want the doll. They want whatever it is. Yeah. But it's like, I think it was kind of like we were talking about, I can't remember what episode, but it's like, it's also nice because there's not this like fucking Christmas, God bless that everyone moment that's shoved down your throat. But then there's also like not this grand, if we don't succeed, we won't save Christmas. We need to make people believe so Santa can get his magic and his sleigh can fly. You know, there's none of that crap in there.
Kids, if you believe, she'll come back to life. Believe in Tinkerbell.
Yeah, like clap, 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 clap. So that's kind of like refreshing, especially, you know, like there's so many Christmas movies out there that are just like oozing with sugar. You know, I can't think of another way to say it. They're just so fucking sweet. It's kind of aggravating.
Well, and like I feel like this movie it's just grounded in it's not grounded in reality, but it feels real, and it feels like an actual family from this time period that are just having a good Christmas time. And also it's a reflection of like what an easy fucking time, dude, to live in. Jesus Christ. For some people, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like 1940s. Yeah, I know. And it has like good bits, like,
well, no, it's vignette style of storytelling where it's kind of like this little like recollection of Ralphie's, this little recollection. They all kind of build and they all kind of do culminate at the end for Christmas morning type thing. You know, like the setting up of the dogs that they're going to come in later and destroy their turkey dinner. The whole, like, just the repetitiveness of the, you'll shoot your eye out, kid. And then what does he do? This first shot, not understanding ballistics with the fucking
shooting at a metal sign.
Shooting at a metal sign, like, ding, I shot my eye out. They were all right. And then destroying his glasses, which is also a setup, like the importance of the glasses. Like his father's like, "Where are your glasses? You didn't break another set of glasses, did you?" You know, it's like that set up earlier. Like there's like all of this little bits like that are just set up for this like wonderful Christmas day that goes awry for them. and then it ends, in the sweet way. I actually, it was interesting that you bring in perspective, because I didn't really think about this, and I kind of piggybacked off it. Is that final scene of the mom and dad looking out the window, and how he's like, "Honey, come here. Isn't this beautiful?" As like the snow falls and whatnot. We don't know if that's what actually happened. That's Ralphie just thinking like, "Oh, this is what my parents would be doing downstairs,
Christmas Day or Christmas night,
Christmas night as I'm going to bed. Like this is like, oh, my parents who do love each other would sit here like this and watch the snow fall in the dark light and whatnot." And then you get him cuddling with his BB gun and whatnot.
Well, then you also have moments that kind of break this idea of a narrative, like Randy hiding underneath the sink because dad's gonna kill Ralphie for beating up the bully thing. Like that moment,
gonna kill Ralphie.
Like that moment is like, well, that doesn't make sense for Ralphie to be thinking about that.
Yeah, but even it's like, I guess like, and that's kind of like, oh, that's where I was trying to get with like this like grounded like actual like reality with the parents, is like what they're saying, their like little banter back and forth and whatnot. Like, Ralphie wouldn't really be me remembering that well. Yeah. Like that's a very honest like husband wife of this time period banter. Like, oh, I'm not colorblind. I'm not colorblind either.
Yeah.
Her sitting down. I guess he kind of brings up like, my mother hasn't eaten a hot meal since because every time she sits down to eat and just got to go get more food for somebody.
Well, there's also like, there's these like charming moments, because it feels like, in this case, a 9-year-old boy, after he gets the whole soap in the mouth treatment, and him being like, if I go blind for this, they'll feel so bad.
Yeah. Right.
And they'll make me feel so good. Like he's like, I'll be the martyr. I'll go blind for this. It's just kind of like, it is such a
from soap poisoning.
And they're all,
like, his imagination is fucking wonderful, and like how, and that's also a great representation of like the time period of just like how like that's what like his whole like this stopping the burglars, and he's like dressed up in like the cowboy
and the rhinestone cowboy.
Yeah, and like the burglars are wearing like the striped shirts, and like after he's like knocked them all out, they got like the X's on their eyes. Like,
they're wearing the little Robin masks, What was it? Black Bart? Was that the villain of his imagination? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those like, I was laughing earlier because it's like my favorite Christmas movies off the top of my head is Scrooged and The Ref, right?
Yeah.
So that's like my personality, but it's like I can acknowledge that this is a good film.
Yeah.
I just don't particularly care for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's just like really weird. I don't know why.
I think just like for me, it brings me back to a happy place of my childhood. I can relate a lot with Ralphie, and like,
I just wonder if it's the total opposite, that I'm just not putting something together.
I mean, as a kid, I had a very overactive imagination and stuff like that. I don't, it's like, that's how Christmas was for me as a kid. And then it became The Ref. Then it became Scrooged. Yeah. I lost my Cindy Lou Who somewhere, and I became the Grinch. We're good.
Okay.
We might as well just actually start doing our carrot for it, though. I mean, I don't really have much else to say. Like, there's not there. I mean, it's a cute, wonderful little Christmas movie. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, it was in 2012, the Library of Congress put it into the National Film sent it for preservation for the National Film Registry for being culturally impactful and relative for what Christmas time is. Even though it is very much a reflection of the white people's Christmas.
Well, the ending.
Yeah.
At the restaurant.
Oh yeah, no, the blatant racism from the Chinese restaurant, like, yeah. It's also it's a child's recollection. Well, it's not even a child. It's a man's recollection of his childhood, kind of. That's another weird thing is like you get these moments where you feel like he's having a recollection, but then you actually have these moments where you're like, oh, he's living this moment. Like the narrator is reliving the moment and he's in the moment. It's like, I shot my eye out.
The tense in which it was being presented to you would change from time to time. And you're like, wait.
Yeah. Why would you do it?
Because it was terrible. I was like, oh, I forgot about this part. I do like it when he cuts off the duck head, though.
Yeah, it's smiling at me.
That was actually a tradition at our house.
A duck?
No, we would go to Chinese restaurants on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's a handful.
Yeah, that's a thing, right?
Fuck, what was I gonna say though? That scene and like the racism of that was pointed out in Family Guy years ago.
I remember that.
And
I totally remember that.
Yeah, so like because that starts happening, and then it cuts to like Peter's like, that's right, guys, your beloved Christmas movie.
Oh yeah,
racist.
He totally calls it out.
Let that sink in. Yeah, let that sink in.
I totally forgot that.
But yeah, honestly, for me, I guess even as a movie, and for a Christmas movie, it's a 4 out of 5 for me. Like especially as a Christmas movie, almost a 5 as a Christmas movie. I'd say actually almost a 5 out of 5.
Wow.
As a movie itself, yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5. Because of how well it's crafted with its storytelling, its narrative, how the vignettes build with each other. I feel like it's easy to consume. It's good storytelling. Yeah, it's nothing really to learn about it, other than just like a kid's desire for Christmas and whatnot.
Well, it's also like from a movie standpoint, at least like I want to say aesthetically, it's kind of like when I first saw it was like you could say Sandlot, or like you could say Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or in the sense that even though it's as old as it is, because it takes place in such a distinct time, because the 40s is such from the fashion, the cars, the trends, especially if you're looking at like middle class white America too.
Yeah.
It's like it's
in Indiana specifically.
Yeah,
as
like
well.
in the like the Midwest kind of area.
Yeah.
It like has like is it like Sandlot is actually probably the best. Who Framed Roger Rabbit too, because of the costumes and everything, but it has it makes it's almost like a little time capsule.
Yes, yeah. That's
so
a great way to
even
put it,
though it's old, it doesn't age. It's like just it lives in this spot.
It's honestly it's almost 40 years old. I feel like it's a movie that you could show to a younger generation now, and yeah, they might have some qualms with the Chinese the racism at the end of it and stuff like that, which it's totally fine. I feel like you could show it to a younger person and it would still be captivating for them.
I don't know if it would.
I think it would.
I don't know. I just think that it's kind of like,
I think it's just goofy enough.
Yeah, but I think it's like such remove. If you're like, let's say you're like 10 or 12. Let's say you're 10.
Yeah.
8 to 10 right now. It's like the 40s is such a removed era. I don't know. Because
but that's what it's like. It's such a but it was a removed era for me.
But we had our grandparents were those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like we had, like, I remember my grandpa. He was a 40s dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I remember that guy.
But what I mean is like I think it's like just like through the lens, like it's a story through the lens of a child's mind.
Totally. Yeah. I don't know. I get that, but it's just like even
it's even regardless like of the time period, it just kind of.
I guess what I mean by that though is like when I was watching Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, and just kind of looking at the trends, the fashion, and everything like that. It's like it was a different planet.
Yeah.
And it's just like I kind of and I'm not that far away from that era, but I was just like, I don't know.
But there's a difference between watching a movie that was filmed in the 80s that's set in the 80s and watching a movie that was filmed in the 80s and set in the 40s. Like if someone is like make a movie in the 40s nowadays, like, do you think nobody would like?
No, I'm saying like the kid thing.
Yeah, even still, I know. But like, it's such an honest story, and yeah, because it's set in a time that kids don't know about, whatever. Like, I think it could capture for Christmas time. I think kids could get like, oh, this was fun.
You have friends with kids, right?
Yeah,
ask them if they want like.
Some of their kids love this movie.
Okay, so you already have the answer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see it kind of being a little too removed. But I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'm just trying to think back into my mind, like when I was a kid, if there was like movies that I liked that were set in like the 1900s or 1800s and whatnot, but I can't think of anything.
That's the thing. I was like, I can't think of anything like. It was more just like food for thought, more than it was an actual statement. It was just kind of more like, I wonder.
Well, what's your carrot? Come on.
Like a 3.5.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah, because it's like it's a good movie, but I also like found myself chuckling, but then I also found myself kind of annoyed, like whenever and that could have been the point, but the bully.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, you got to think of like all of the over exaggerated.
Yeah, because again, it's from Ralphie's perspective. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I do love it when he kicks the shit out of the bully.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome. Just I love that style.
I've heard of people getting possessed
and speaking in strange tongues. I just love that style of for family movies of censoring. I just think I think that's a really cute, clever way to do it. And I really like the narration. It's not really my movie.
That's fine.
So yeah, it's good. Like I was saying, it's well, like you said too. It's like well crafted, and I also just love the look of, like, I really want those kids' beanies, the really long ones.
Oh yeah,
those are cool.
One thing we don't really talk about a lot, I think, is like how well this movie comes to a nice completion. Like it resolves in a just like nice, like you can, and it's over, and you don't feel like, oh well, that's how it ends. You don't feel like, oh, I wanted more. You're just like,
it's got a pin in it, and you're like,
yeah,
cool,
nice little period, and you're like, the end.
Yeah, that's true. You got it, and it is the whole thing you were saying, this whole scene where the dad's like, oh, what's that behind the desk? It's very cute, and I thought it was just so funny. I'm like, yeah, why didn't you ask your dad? Your dad's like, he's a guy. And he even says, I had one to know when I was 8. It's like, yeah, you should have started off with dad.
You don't go to dad. You don't talk to dad. Because dad talks to you.
Yeah, I guess so. That's true.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. I think.
Yeah. Then exactly. You don't have a relationship with your.
Which is kind of interesting how a Christmas story plays out. But yeah, well, I'll talk. I can tell you about that off camera.
Okay.
Off mic. Off the show.
Oh, yeah. This is actually probably a good time.
Yeah. Next week is 8 Crazy?
I believe so.
Bow.
Have we done
no. Next week's Hebrew Hammer. Going into Hanukkah.
I'm really curious how that's gonna go.
Let's actually talk a little bit about the history of Hanukkah next week as well.
Isn't Andy Dick the bad guy?
Yeah.
What is it called?
Hebrew Hammer.
The Hebrew Hammer?
I think it's just Hebrew Hammer.
Hebrew Hammer. It's like such a fever dream memory of this
movie.
I
know. I've never seen it, but I've been told by a lot of people, that a lot of like film buff friends are like, you got to see Hebrew Hammer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so yeah, join us next week for Hebrew Hammer. Cool.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. If you're watching,
yeah.
Like, subscribe YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Wherever you get your podcasts at. We should be on everything.
Yes, and like always, if you know of one that we don't use, let us know, and we'll just add it to there, because the more it's out there, it doesn't hurt.
Exactly. All right. Christmas.